All right, guys, thank you for joining me tonight. Let me get rid of that pinned comment. Thank you for pointing that out about the pinned comment. Appreciate it. Got rid of it, so hopefully it's not there anymore. All right, thank you for the 5x5. Evolving Media, Flown Grown. Thank you for the 5x5. Darcy, AllPower, Dobie, Sarita, Vizard, Colt, Maria, thank you for the 5x5. Dimon, thank you for the Angry by Angry. Sarissa, I'm sorry, thank you for the 5x5. Groundhog, Kathy, Ozark, Gene, Steve, SP, Miss Nancy, thank you for the 5x5. Dog Walker, Let's Go, Wide Awake. Sway, thank you for the 5x5. Cowboy, Miss Puff, Sojourner, Master Blaster, Ken Zoe, thank you for the 5x5. Mike, Rock Valley, Dan, Jerry, thank you for the 5x5. Of Old, Brian, thank you for the 5x5. Sirsha, thank you. Sirsha, all right, thank you for that. Antichrist, someone tell me what 5x5 means. 1 second after. PSHF, thank you for the Angry by Angry. Savage, thank you for the 5 million, up by 5 million. Colt, am I feeling better? Yeah, listen, I have to tell you, man. The Sunday, was it Sunday? Saturday, I went to a fire, and I was fine. Maverick, Raccoon, thank you for the 5x5. And that following night, Sunday night, we went to 2 fires. So apparently my body can't hold up, but I was in bad form, man. I was extremely tired. I was exhausted. And I was asking around. And I was like, is this normal? Because, like you go to 1 fire, 2, maybe 3 a month, not 3 in a weekend. So I've never felt that way. In fact, I passed out in the living room on a recliner when I got home Monday morning. And it took every bit of strength to make it to my bedroom. It was one of the hardest tasks in the world. It was like I was hungover. Anyway, and then I woke up later that night. I slept some more. Tuesday, I was just like, yeah, fuck this noise. Caribbean says the what you call a comment is still there. So let's unpin it, and it hopefully disappears now. It should be gone, but thank you for that. So yeah, it was one of the wildest weekends as far as that goes. That we and a lot of us were tired. We were all beat up. We were like fucking shot to shit. You need fried. So yeah, probably fried spam would bring me back. But yeah, man, it was bizarre. It was one of the most bizarre things I've ever gone through. And then, like I said, Tuesday I just wasn't feeling good. Wasn't up to it, and I was like, yeah, fuck this. So anyway, that being said, yeah, man, firefighting is not for the it's not for the weak. It's said bye from everyone. Yeah, listen, I know people were telling me that there were a lot of people weren't feeling good that week. I had a mixture of shit going on, and then I had that recovering from it. And normally, like, 1 fire takes me about a day to recover, especially, like, the harder you work, right? Obviously, the harder you work at a job, you can't go to a fire and just be, like, half-assed. There's no such thing. Either you're all in or you're out, right? But switching off the whole fire thing, I listen, guys. I wish I could take you guys to some of these apartments we go to, and yeah, boy, I don't know how to say this, but last night I went to an apartment, and again, guys, I go through within the last couple of years, a lot of the apartments we've gone through have been atrocious. But it seems like after the whole Mr. 19 event, things have gotten bad mentally. And people are living in worse than squalor. I mean, people are living in some fucked up conditions. I mean, like conditions that I just can't explain to you unless you saw it for yourself. Salty dog. I listen. I thought about that. The problem is that it's just against the rules, and I can't do that. Right? I can explain to you what I saw. I can't show you what I saw. Now, some of these are not medical runs, and I probably might be able to get away with it after I retire, but I'm not going to go through all of that. And this two apartments this week, actually, two apartments this week. One apartment, this guy has a water leak. He has an ongoing water leak in his apartment. He opens, this is the second time we've gone to this guy's apartment. So we get the call on a different floor. I tell the guys, he's on this floor. He's 2 floors above. So we go to the 2 floors above, right to his apartment. And this time I get to go inside his apartment. When I tell you that there was mold all over his apartment, and he still had about 2-3 inches of water on the floor. So his apartment was essentially a petri dish. And he was like, water seeping down to people below him. And he's like, listen, man, I know people are harassing me about the water. I'm like, harassing you? I'm like, you're fucking... I'm like, I said, yes, the people are a little annoyed. And he's like, listen, I'm trying to get housing in here. I'm like, I said, if housing comes in here, they're going to kick you the fuck out. I don't know. Imagine what you can see in my room right now. Right? Just imagine that all of this has mold all over it. And his floor had mold all over it. And I mean, the guy, no, groundhog, not like a hoarder. This guy didn't have anything in his apartment. He barely had, from what I could see, he had nothing in his apartment. On top of that, he had no lights in his apartment. It was dark. It smelled like shit. I said, guys, if I fall on this floor, leave me here. Because I'm set to die. I'm set to carry some bacteria that's fucking out of control. Because I've never seen anything that bad. I've seen Hoarders apartments. The fire I went to a week ago, 2 weeks ago now. That was a Hoarders apartment. This guy had straight up and down mold everywhere. Roaches all over the place. I took half a step in and was like, nope. Ryan, exactly. And I don't understand how the city allows for this shit. That is way above a biohazard incident waiting to happen in this guy's apartment. So anyway, he's like, thank you guys, never forget. And he's saluting us and all kinds of shit as we're like trying to leave. He's like, you guys are the greatest. And he like got a full attention. Never forget. And I'm like, please, I want to forget this fucking call. Like, I just wanted to get the fuck out of it. So that was fucking Yardbird, germaphobe. Listen, Yardbird, you want to come down to the city and ride along with us and go into somebody's apartment? I can guarantee you're going to take a Brillo pad to your skin. Now, I'm not that bad. But, yo, the roaches and mold, yo, you can't have both. You have to have one or the other. You can't have roaches and mold. And then, like, again, his apartment was destroyed. I don't know if he was chewing on his furniture or what little furniture he had, if he was scratching the walls with his bare hands, but there was some shit going on in there. And yes, it was black mold because I had to take a second look at the floor to make sure I was looking at what I was looking at. I'm like, is that fucking... And then I look up and I see it on the walls. I'm like, fuck this apartment. I mean, like, there's no other way to handle that apartment than torch it and kill it with fire, is what I mean. Dan Phillips, no, you know what? Dan Phillips, somebody did say that they might have gone to a fire in that apartment. Maybe that's what the mixture was. But his floor had mold on it. And so did his door and the roaches. It was bad. So anyway, there was that. And when people talk about living in a city and prepping and disease and contagions and all this other shit brewing, that's the shit you're talking about. Because people now, while everything is in order, live like shit. And this guy, we still have power, we still have services available to us. He's got all of the shit available to him. He's not taking anything from it, or he's not taking up on any of it, rather, excuse me. He's not calling anybody. So, again, that's now. So imagine when society collapsed, the horrible conditions that you might see during a collapse. And this doesn't have to be in an apartment, guys. This can also be in somebody's home in the suburbs because they just can't handle the collapse and the shit that's going on, right? So you're dealing with that shit. Now, during the apocalypse or the collapse of society, it's going to be 1,000,000 times worse. The smells and the shit that you're going to see are going to be nothing short of a nightmare. And guys, this guy's apartment was a nightmare. Now, I can't imagine what it's going to look like during the apocalypse. I just can't imagine. So, Chum Billie Jean. I'm sorry if I fucked that name up, but yeah, that leads me to the other story last night. Last night, I almost lost my shit. I was like that close to losing my shit. We go into the apartment because this lady decided at 3 o'clock in the morning she was going to take a bath. Yeah, Johnny 308, we know that, but the fucking apartment was warm. It was breeding ground for mold. His apartment wasn't cool, dry. It wasn't dry. It was warm, as if he was purposely building that environment. That was the crazy shit. And the water, whatever. I think now looking at that, oh, Chum on Billie Jean. Okay, Michael Jackson. Got it. All right. So anyway, this next lady's apartment was last night. And she decided at 3 o'clock in the morning she was going to take a shower. For whatever reason, the faucet wouldn't shut off. So they call us, we get there, and this building she's in is a nice building. We go into her apartment, and I see her sticking her head out at the end of the hallway. I'm like, all right. We go in there, and it was like I walked into the fucking Twilight Zone. I was like, what in the absolute fuck is going on in here? Her stove looked like someone took a maul to it. It had dents and dings all over the place. She had 2 lights. She had one in the bedroom, and I looked in the bedroom, and I go, what the fuck is going on in there? Don't care. Focus, right? We go into her bathroom. Her bathroom looks like a fucking nightmare. It looked like she took a shit and rubbed it all over the walls. She can't flush her toilets because she doesn't have a fucking functioning toilet. She had shit all over the bowl. Then her faucet doesn't shut off. So we had to break the wall to get to the shutoff valves behind the wall. Now you think these fucking geniuses, the people that put the construction workers or plumbers, they would put the shutoff valves, expose them, so that all you have to do is take a screwdriver and shut it off one way or the other. No, it's behind the wall, so I had to breach the wall, break the wall down, and then pull back I forgot what that plate is called. The guy in the firehouse told me what a plate, not a gusset plate. There's another name for that plate behind it, and I had to bend that out of the way and shut it off, right? And as I shut it off, I take a third look around her apartment, and I'm like, why in the fuck are we letting these animals live on their own? They clearly cannot live on their own. There is something, yes, firefighters are plumbers to an extent. There is clearly something wrong with these people. Their apartment is fucking shittier than the shittiest environment you could think of. And just when you could think of the worst environment, it's worse than that. And these people have obvious psych issues. And they're hanging out in their home in the worst unsanitary condition you could think of. I would almost say you need a hazmat suit for some of these homes. And I'm not going to be surprised my fucking finger falls off, because that's where I cut my finger, right across the knuckle too at that. So it's the worst part of a cut, is to have it across your knuckle where you bend your finger, and I can't bend this finger right now. But anyway. And these people, the city is allowing for these psych patients to live on their own and live in squalor and live in the worst environment that they can possibly live in. I have never in 1,000 fucking years have thought that we would let people live in a shit environment like that. The guy in one building and this chick in this building. And then we had the other guy that had hypodermic needles all over his apartment, right? And he wasn't even there. He had hypodermic needles all over the floor. He had roaches on every inch of his wall. Hypodermic needles. I think the fucking roaches were shooting up. That was another fucking call that I really don't want to fucking discuss because it pisses me off that our tax-paying dollars are doing this, paying for this shit. Mastermind, I agree that their environment shows their state of mind, but it's well beyond that. For the doggies, do you get used to dead body smells? You can. The Trade Center was one of those situations where you sort of got used to it. But after you're displaced from that environment and you get reintroduced to it again, it hits you like a punch in the face. And the time of year, like summertime, in an enclosed hot apartment, absolutely adds to the conditions and how worse the smell can be. But again, New York City is sitting there paying for these people to live like shit. The government, I think the federal government, is paying for these animals to live like fucking animals. It's the most disgusting thing you're ever going to see. And it's not one apartment, it's a bunch. Now, leading up to the Mr. 19 event, leading up to that, I do not recall being in this many apartments that were this bad. I just don't. Haven't. Up until the Mr. 19 event, I had, 18 years on? 17, 18 years on? I've never seen an apartment that bad, even in my EMS days. And in my EMS days, I saw one apartment that was bad like that. One. So, after the whole Mr. 19 event, we've gone in more apartments that are just bad, man. I don't understand how... I mean, again, I can explain it to you, but me explaining it to you does you no justice. You have to see it for yourself. Oh, okay. I saw beef and chicken on the timeout. I'm like, what the hell's going on? All right. So anyway, this is the world we're living in. We're feeding psych patients and migrants, and people are relying on the government, living like shit. Here's an even, I don't want to say a worse story, but there was a men's shelter down the block from the firehouse, and the shelters. I think I told you guys this a couple weeks ago. All right, pocket band. I don't know what that means, but all right. And so the shelter is built. They have like little rooms, and they're built like almost like jail cells, which is crazy. And some guy lit a blanket or some shit on fire, and we went in there, and the worker in the men's shelter put it out. And he puts it was a blanket. It was a little blanket, like in the middle of a floor. It wasn't going to catch fire or anything else. But he put the blanket. He pulled the blanket out, and then he doused it with chem, ABC, right? Dry chem, excuse me. And he hit it with that, and it went out. He was like, I put the fire out, guys. I took care of it. I saved the day. And I thought he was joking when he said he saved the day. And he kept repeating it. I put it out, guys. I put it out. I was like, good job, man. You know, like, yeah. He's like, yeah, man. You know, I had to do it, or it was going to catch, the building was going to catch fire. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? I said, all right, man, thank you. I don't know if he's looking for a pat on the back, an attaboy, or a medal. I'm not sure what was going on. But anyway, he puts the fire out. We look at it. We go, all right, all's good. We start leaving. So I had to take a look into one of these rooms. These are the shelters that, again, city taxpaying dollars are paying for. So I look in the room, and I'm going, what the fuck is going on in that room? This guy's mattress looked like he took a machete to it and sliced it to hell. His room was destroyed. I turn around, And I look at the lady who works there, and I go, you guys put up with this shit? And the girl goes, yeah. She goes, there's nothing we can do about it. I go, what do you mean there's nothing? You kick them the fuck out. She's like, we're not allowed to. And they're allowed to do whatever they want. I said, so our taxpaying dollars are paying for this shit? She goes, yes. And she goes, and she just like shrugs her hand like she doesn't know what to do. And I'm like, so now I'm frustrated on that end because, again, we, city people, our tax dollars are paying for this shit. We're paying for psych patients to live in shit, act like savages, do the worst they can do to an apartment and a room, and nothing is being said. And back in the days when I was an EMT, we used to do wellness checks, and we had to be called for wellness checks, right? So an agent, what the hell is that called? A representative, God, what the fuck they're called? Those people that do the wellness checks, right? They go around and they go, okay, Mr. Derek today is hasn't called in. We got to go check on him. With that, they assign a police, an RMP, 2 cops, and then an ambulance unit, two EMTs. It's usually EMTs, never medics. Unless there's no EMTs available, then they assign medics, but for the most part, it's just EMTs. So we would arrive on these calls, and if they saw anything out of place in that apartment, they tagged and bagged you, took you back to the hospital, readjusted your meds. You stayed inside the psych facility for a little while. Thank you, caseworker. You stayed inside the facility for a little while, and then they let you go. That was back then. That was back in like 2000, 2002, 3. Maybe even 2007 and 8 when I was also an EMT for Cornell Hospital. Now, a caseworker will go in that apartment and go, there's not much we can do as long as they're not a harm to themselves or others. Wait, what? So this person living in shit, that's okay? That's fine? And creating breeding ground for some kind of biohazard, some mess, some catastrophe in there. And that's the crazy thing, Johnny 308. During the whole Mr. 19 event, caseworkers were checking up on people's homes. Like, they would check up on families, but never check up on the kid who's getting the shit kicked out of them on a daily basis. They check up on a working class family, but never the psych patient who's rolling around in mold in his apartment. And I was so utterly annoyed by all of this. I'm like, and again, forget the tax-paying dollar shit. I kept saying that, but in my head, what I really wanted to say is, why are we letting these savages live amongst us? They need to be in a psych ward, and that's that. Yes, Watchmen. I haven't been paying attention to the whole Alaska summit because I don't care. Whatever's going on, it isn't good. That much I know. Trump and this whole federalizing the police in D.C. nonsense is the first step, guys, to a totalitarianism society. Whether Trump completes that circuit or the next president comes in and goes, well, Trump did it, we can do it too, it is not a good idea. That's all I'm saying. And a lot of people are starting to wake up to it. Even Pinball, his whole video, I watched it because I wanted to see where he was going with it. And at the end, he was like, this is a move. That's all it is. This federalizing the police and then saying, oh, I'm going after New York next. When New York's crime came down. Now, the crime came down, not by a lot, but it came down enough that he doesn't need to be thinking about that. There are other cities that if we were going to federalize police, you might want to look at. But federalizing police, guys, is a bad fucking idea. Period. There is no excuse under anybody's world where you're going to federalize the police. Federalizing the police and getting, yes, the rapists, the PDOs, the criminals, the drug dealers off the street looks good at first. Because you're like, look what he's doing. He's cleaning up the streets. It looks, the crime is down. Oh man, that looks really good. Now let's enter a couple years down the line when another president doesn't like some shit you said on social media, or doesn't like the way you fucking behave on social media, or you took a stand against him on social media. Now he's sending the federal police force after you because you said some shit he didn't like. This is all part of the plan. And I told people we were going to see a different Trump, and what do we see? Seeing a different motherfucker, man. Different motherfucker. Watchmen, I get that, but there's nothing we can do about it. All we can do is prepare for it and prepare for it mentally. That's all we can do. Anything else, man, we're just screaming into the wind, you know? And I'm not that I don't have an interest in it, I'm not paying attention to it because whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Yes. Am I going to, pay a little more attention now that you brought it to my attention? Absolutely. But yeah, it's not going to look good. That's all I'm going to say. It's not looking good. Whatever's going on in Russia, what Trump's doing is not looking good. Half Pint on Rumble. Thank you for bringing that up. And sorry I didn't do a check on Rumble. I left my phone inside, so I don't have any access to it. But Half Pint Forge Live. First of all, thank you for joining me on Rumble. And secondly, the hygiene is definitely taking a toll. But I mean, again, guys, something is not making sense. Something is off with the planet. Something is off with the people. Because what I've been seeing, again, we've been watching criminal activities amongst family members get worse. We're seeing people take out their family members. We're seeing people take their kids out for no reason and then not even give an explanation as to why. Suicide is at an all-time high and it's going to continue to climb. They're going to blame social media, but there's way more to it than social media. I can guarantee you my son wasn't looking at social media when he thought about doing what he did. There's something else at play. And I know that it's the arm ticket, and there has been some evidence that the arm ticket is leading people down that road. You have people, guys, just doing odd shit. And then again, the bunch of apartments we've been in the last few years, the last 2 years or so, have been some heinous conditions that I can't even explain. I would have to, again, show it to you guys, but there is no chance of me showing you guys this. Unless, again, I retired, went to this person's apartment because I remembered it and filmed it. Right? That's the only time I can do that. Or I get the okay from housing to do so. That's jumping over a dozen steps, though. That's a huge leap. Federalizing police and jailing people. Half Pint, that is a segue. And I tell people all the time, if you do not pay attention to the patterns, it's going to bite you in the ass on the long run. You pay attention to the patterns, you start to see where it goes. We've seen this pattern before, and we've seen where a lot of other countries have gone in this era, where they federalize police or put police under presidential control, and then it goes down this road. We've seen this before. This is not anything new. So the fact that people are thinking, well, he's just militarizing the police because it's just doesn't work that way, my friend. It does not work that way. It's called recognizing the patterns. And the one thing I'm pretty good at is recognizing patterns. Judging people and recognizing patterns. I don't brag about much, but I have been right on more occasions than wrong. And yes, I have been wrong, and I admit to being wrong. And people are going to start seeing it. And again, Half Pint, here's the issue. It might not be Trump. Trump might not go all the way with this. But the next president coming in who wants to federalize police and start putting people under the thumb for things they said can absolutely happen. There are a lot of bills being passed. There are a lot of things being lifted and changed under our nose because we're not paying attention to it. For example, 2 years ago, New York City changed its noise ordinance to let Muslims do their, Halal Akbar bullshit, the prayer call. So when it's time to pray, this loudspeaker goes off. They have it in Brooklyn. They have it in one spot in Brooklyn right now. I don't know if it grew from there. They have one spot in Brooklyn where during prayer time, this call for prayer goes off, and it's fucking loud. And everybody in the neighborhood can hear it. And it's fucking annoying. right? So, alternative homestead. I would say so. I guess um, but they changed the noise ordinance now so they could do that whenever they want in whatever neighborhood they want, and nobody thought of anything. Nobody thought of it, and now it's coming to fruition, if you will, and we're seeing more Muslims in more neighborhoods. They're gonna start erecting more mosques, and we're gonna hear more of this bullshit. 3 o'clock in the morning. Some certain times of the year, certain holidays, they can do it 3 o'clock in the morning, as early as 3 o'clock in the morning. Sorry. Yeah, and that. Thank you, Franny. They're just federalizing the police is automatically viewed as, and that's the thing. I think what he did in D.C., guys, was a test. It's a test run. That's why he did it in D.C. Yeah, of course, the left is crying. They'll cry about anything. But this is a concern, and this is something that we should be paying attention to. Do I think we should be flipping out like the left? No. Should we be taking note? Absolutely. Because, again, even if Trump doesn't go full circle with this, some animal, the next president, it could go full circle and start throwing people in jail for whatever the fuck he doesn't like. And they can bypass a lot of shit. Guys, they're putting so many bills in, it is hard to keep up to what is going on. The progression of AI. Mr. John Johnson, I agree. Control is the pattern, and that's what we're starting to see. We're definitely starting to see what you call. We shouldn't worry. I'm not saying we should or shouldn't worry. I'm saying is those are two very different things. One is elevation of police force, and the other is blatant violation of federal. Yes, and that's the thing, Half Pine. And you're absolutely right. But again, the pattern is there, and that's the problem. And I get what you're saying. You're right. It is two different things, but not the way that they're shoving these bills in under our noses, behind our backs, telling us there's an alien invasion, telling us it was a meteor that was going to smack into the moon, telling us about some stupid Poseidon meteor shower, a blob that's taken 1,000,000 years to move here, the Frankenstein rabbits that are running around out west. We got a ton of shit going on. The CDC event that happened early this week. We have all of these things going on, guys, and we're paying attention to that and not the bills that they're dropping, where they can steadily start nipping away at the Constitution behind our backs. They're doing it with the Second Amendment, and they're going to continue to do it. And I think they're going to drop the hammer later this year, early next year, on some heavy movements on the Second Amendment. Because what comes next, guys, is automatic rebellion if this keeps carrying on. If this keeps carrying on, we're going to see rebellion. We're going to see some kind of revolution. Because even liberals and the left are like, all right, this shit's getting out of control. Steve, you're absolutely right. And yes, Half Pine, I'm just saying we should be paying attention. Again, not scream, crying, carrying on. I'm not going to do that bullshit. Because nothing that happens now is going to surprise me. That's probably why I'm not interested what goes on between the U.S. and Russia at this meeting. Because it doesn't matter what happens. We're not a part of that plan. These people, if they decide to go to World War III, we are not a part of that plan. Yes, the meteor shower was 2 nights ago. I tried to get a peek at it, but again, too many city lights. It was fucking. And Steve, thank you for watching on Rumble, by the way. 504, yes, it is a distraction because, right, the JFK file, the UFO files, the Fort Knox. We're going to show you Fort Knox, and all of that shit just fucking poof, vanished. Again, guys, look at all the bills that they're dropping behind our backs. They're dropping some major fucking bills. There's a Thump Act, right, where you can supposedly, it was introduced. I don't think that's going to pass. That one's a little rough. But supposedly, if people are blocking the roadway, you can, go over them as speed bumps and you would be justified. Especially if they swarm your car. I think that's what it is. If they are hostile towards you, you can do that. Or an emergency or something like that. It's called the Thump Act or the Thump Act. Look it up. It's an actual bill that was introduced. I don't think that's going to go anywhere. But my point is, guys, that they are introducing a phenomenal amount of bills. Now, again, I'm older now, so I'm paying more attention. I don't know if this was going on when we were kids, but every time I look up, there's a new bill. You got the Safety Act for Kids bill, act that they're trying to pass, and then you have the Screen Time Act or Kids Screen Act that they're looking to pass as well, right? And that is to put your real ID in the system, which I don't understand because they have all of that information, but they're trying to protect kids. We want to protect kids. Let's protect kids. Let's get out there and get some. Let's get out there in the world and protect kids. Trump wants to federalize the police force to quell crime. How about you go after the missing kids in the sex trafficking industry? How about you do that? There's a ton of kids here in the United States that are in the sex trafficking. Why don't you focus on that? Someone said I thought the live was canceled tonight. Jay, no more. That was Tuesday, not Thursday. I apologize for that. And the school won't tell the parents. I heard about that bill in Frank LaRosa. I heard about that bill in California. But again, guys, this is you want to talk about real shit? That's the real shit to focus on. Not sit there, and yes, I get it, getting criminals off the street does matter. If it does work, fine. But at what point are you going to give it back to the police? Can he, he said he's going to extend the 30 days. It was 30 days, now he's extending it another 30 days before the 30 days is up. So, again, a lot going on. False flag tomorrow at the meeting. Master Blaster. I wouldn't be surprised at this point. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised at anything that goes on. What I would be surprised with if a peace agreement was reached tomorrow, all of a sudden. And then even then, the flags would go up. It'd be like, wait a second, what's going on here? That I would be surprised with. But I'm not going to be surprised at any other bullshit that these people have planned for us. So like I said, man, it's all a game to them. I think it's going to happen in the end of September, the first week of October. Game over. Yeah, listen, like I said, whatever happens doesn't matter. I don't even give a shit anymore. I'm just going to be ready for whatever bullshit they throw at us. Because they're going to throw some shit at us. They're going to throw a lot of shit at us. I mean, they're trying already. They're trying to get us so distracted with everything. Throw these bills in. For the doggy, I heard something about the tunnels here in New York City, but I didn't look into it. I know that there are a lot of underground bases or protection sites, like nuclear fallouts, shelters, like big ones, underground, but they're for the rich and the elite and not for us. I heard that. And a politician came forward with that, I don't know how long ago, but she came forward in a video talking about this shit. And people are like, why the fuck is she mentioning this shit now? Right? So. Mark, I didn't watch the Alien Earth yet. I am going to watch it. I'm probably going to watch it tonight. But I did watch Prometheus and the Covenant, not the Covenant, but the Aliens Covenant, to see if they are going to link them all together. Because at some point they have to. But, yeah, man, a lot of shit, guys, in these bills. And it's not cool. And Master Blaster thinks that we will give Alaska to Putin. I don't see that happening. And again, I don't see how Trump can give that up. Not without a fight. I mean, listen, like, Alaskans a fight. So I don't see that happening at all. And if he does, he's going to have to fucking answer to a lot of fucking people. And I'm talking about the American people. And listen, I'm going to tell you right now, he starts giving pieces of America to Russia, we might have to start a revolution against this current administration. Because it's not going to stop there. Bad enough we gave our land away to the Chinese. The Chineses. Yeah, that's not a good one. But yeah, I don't see him giving Alaska away. That's a rough one. I mean, like, even for him. Hell, the Biden administration wouldn't even do it, and they're fucking morons. They wouldn't do it. And right, he can't do it unilaterally. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that. But yeah, it's definitely. Have we talked about Sandwichgate yet? No, we're not talking about Sandwichgate. Why are you angry today, Angryprepper? Because, you know why I'm angry today? Because I cut my finger and I realized today that I could not do kettlebell swings without my fucking finger falling off. And like I said, I can't move it, but whatever. Hopefully it'll feel. And there was something else I was trying to do. Oh, pull ups. That's out for the next couple of days. Do I think there might be civil war? Falcon, 1999. No. They are preventing civil war by keeping us at each other's throats. So Democrats are now collapsing in on each other and they're going after one another. And now we have our people, our own people, conservatives, the right, the Republicans, we're falling apart and going after one another as well because of what Trump's doing. The MAGA party is fracturing big time. People are, who were supporting Trump are now motherfuckering him, including myself. So there's a lot of fracture now. And the problem is, none of us see the big game. And the big game is that they're pitting us against one another. That's the game. That's all it's been. It's always been that way. Divide and conquer. Thank you, PAEMT. That's always been that way. And as long as we keep falling for the bullshit and we don't come together and look at all politicians as our enemies, we will never fucking come together. We will continuously stay separated from one another. No, it wasn't my middle finger that got hurt, because that would be devastating if my middle finger got hurt. But again, it's just crazy that I can't move it, and again, it didn't swell up anymore, because if it swells up more than this, I'm in trouble. That means I got an infection. But I'm definitely fighting for the southern side. Listen, it doesn't. Again, the amount of fracturing that they're keeping us at bay. They're doing it on purpose so that we never come together and there's never a civil war. Listen, at one point I thought we were going to see civil war. I absolutely thought we were, but not anymore. I don't think we are. I don't think we have it in us, and not that we don't have it in us. Like somebody explained, and I like this theory that I heard the other day. This is a good theory, and it makes sense. The reason why the VA doesn't help our veterans is because they don't want them in fighting shape or condition should the shit go down. And should they have to fight, they're in no shape to fight mentally or physically. So that's why the VA treats them like shit. And I'm like, that's a good theory. I've heard that before, and somebody else said it the other day. And I'm like, that is a good theory. People won't get off the couch unless they are kicking in your door. Yeah, that's the other thing. We're just too comfortable as a society. We're one of the most comfortable societies in the world. We got a lot of shit going for us, man. We can call Grubhub and get a sandwich delivered to us right now. Who wants to ruin that, right? Who wants to ruin the fact that they could watch a movie at the word go? Thomas, yes, the VA helps you, but the VA doesn't help a lot of other people. And like a couple of guys at my job, the VA's helping them, which is like I'm a little. Again, I'm not a veteran, but I hear like a split down the middle. Guys are like, yo, the VA's awesome, and then I hear other guys go, the VA doesn't help for shit. I'm like, so again, like RWD channel, he's like, yo, the VA's helping me. MG, thank you for the donation, I appreciate it. But then there are other guys that are like, yo, fuck the VA. I'm like, all right. Again, I don't know. Searching for the light. I heard that the special forces were going after the cartel. I don't know what that's going to look like. If that is true and they do implement some kind of tactic on them, that's going to be very interesting. But someone says, who is John Gate? Isn't John Gate from something Atlas Shrugged, right? Isn't that where John Gate's from? If I remember that correctly. And I didn't read the book. I cheated and saw the movie. And the first movie was pretty good. The second movie was just a snooze fest. But the VA is getting better. Community care is a nice option for people now. Okay, all right. Roger that, Lauren Fur. Listen, you guys will know. Someone, RW said, I hear it's really bad in Florida. No shit. Gate is Atlas Shark. Yeah, okay, I did get it right. But again, I saw the movie. I cheated, yo. Martial law in D.C. I don't know if there's martial law in D.C. yet, but I don't see it going there. I mean, federalizing police and martial law again are two different things. If it goes in that direction, we're fucked. But just got notice that somebody who works for the VA just told me that the VA is probably going to get a lot bad right now for your dream camera. Nemo, thank you for the donation, man. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. For my dream camera, I appreciate that. My dream camera is a lot of money. Spectre, sides are being chosen, but here's the mix. Here's the thing, Spectre. Thank you for saying that. Sides are being chosen, and listen, they're going to always have somebody that's going to wedge themselves in the middle of whatever group's coming together and split that group up. Listen, I watched a group that I've been around a couple times, not fracture, but lose people over bullshit. I had a prepper group that fractured over bullshit. And that was because I had an asshole in the group who fucking, they had to kick him out of the other group when he joined that group because he was a fucking piece of shit, right? And I hope he's watching because you're a piece of shit. But again, we keep fracturing over bullshit, We'll continue to fracture because everybody's like, we should run it this way. Listen, I had a bunch of pussies in my group, and they didn't like the way I was running because I was running it too hard, whatever the fuck that means. And they were like, yeah, you're just running it too hard. I'm growing a vagina, and they left the group. What is the difference between your dream camera and your current camera? Trail name: the dream camera I have is the Hasselblad XD2. XD2. That camera is a 100 megapixel workhorse. That's the dream camera. My camera right now is the Sony A7R5, which is still a very good camera. But the Hasselblad camera is a 12, with a lens, it's a $12,000 camera, right? That camera, I could take a picture of a cheeseburger and the cheeseburger look phenomenal. You're like, that's the best fucking cheeseburger I've ever seen in a picture. That's how good that picture is. Again, that's my dream camera. Is that camera going to happen before I die? Absolutely. But it's a fucking badass of a camera. You could take a picture of a leaf on a sidewalk and people will be like applauding Academy fucking award-winning picture because they're like, look at that leaf. It's a phenomenal looking picture. That's how good that camera is. 100 megapixel means that if I took a picture at this distance right now of my eye, I can blow up my eye and you can see my iris and the details in it. That's how good that camera is. It's just a fucking, you gotta get that camera. It is just an awesome. I just got the XD1, but it's 5K body. It's like the 5K body. Okay, all right. So Nemo's like, I just got the XD1. Nice. The XD2 is coming out. That's the one I'm waiting for. But if the XD1 drops in price, I'll probably get that as well. Right, but then they have a 50 version, which is the 50 mega or 500 megapixel version, and then they have the 50 megapixel version, and then they have the I'm saying it wrong. Not 1 megapixel, excuse me, 100 megapixel version, and then they have a 50 megapixel version. The 100 megapixel version is fucking out of control, But whatever. Again, that's the dream camera. You should use that camera to take pictures of the mold and the roach molds. It probably will. I wouldn't be surprised if the roaches are carrying. Listen, his neighbors are complaining about him. That's how bad it got. They were complaining about him. 200 meg. My Android camera is 200 megapixels. The hell it is. The hell it is. Hasselblad is a dedicated. Right, it's the Hasselblad X2D 100C. 100C means 100 megapixel. and it's a medium format camera. But if I'm not mistaken, Hasselblad sold to the Chinese. If I'm not mistaken. But again, each one of their lens are super expensive. The body is only $8,200. That's doable, but their lenses are anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000. And again, it depends on the lens and which lens is built for a certain camera. Like they have a 135 millimeter lens, which is $4,800. $4,800. That's $4,845 is that camera. So, and their most expensive is the 20 to 35 millimeter XCD, $5,929. Yeah, man. But I only want prime lenses for this camera. Only prime lenses. Because a prime lens, man, pictures are just phenomenal with a prime lens. I'm sorry we're getting into photography, but we only got 8 minutes left. I didn't get to talk about all of this shit that's going wrong or the bad feelings, so I'll probably talk about it next week. But something, how something is off. And again, guys, a lightning bolt, that's the other thing. A lightning bolt that stretches across 3 states or 2 states, 515 miles. And all the bullshit that they're throwing at us, and apparently space might be affecting our sleep. That's starting to be a conversation that's building. Prepper Revelator actually found the subject. I don't know what made him type it in, but he typed it in, and there's all of this shit about sleep disruption, mental health. Now, let me note something on mental health and space. There could be 2 theories. The radiation belt that surrounds us could be playing a big part, either getting closer to us or stronger, or there's a gigantic mass moving closer to us that is causing mental health disruption coming from space. And it could be Planet X, the planet that everybody talks about, that there have been traces of copper sulfite or copper oxide. I can't remember which one it was, in space. And they think it's from that planet. And they think that that planet would be hundreds of million miles away from us, but we would see it in the sky as a star. No fear mongering about the DC operations. The only thing about DC operations, people are talking about what you call it. Anyway, sorry. Let me get back to this shit. So the mental health disruption could be a problem, and they're saying that research is suggesting, guys, that solar activity and increased anxiety, mood swings, and cognitive impairment is a thing. But again, they've also recorded that the copper, what is it? Sulfur ferrite or copper ferrite in space, the Planet X, could be the cause for some of this shit. Then we also have geostorms as well that could be causing this shit. Again, sun activity, radiation in space could be causing this as well. So there's a lot of things, guys, that could be causing what we are experiencing. I believe it's the arm ticket, but to open it up to a broader thought process, physiological effects, mental health, sleep disruption can all be caused by space activity. Now, Planet X is Narabu. Thank you. Feel free. Absolutely. And there was talk of, I don't know how true it is, but they were talking about during the Dark Ages, when it was the last time they thought the planet passed by, and during the Dark Ages, psychological problems and mental health were through the roof. They saw a lot of crazy shit then. And I'm wondering if we're starting to see it now. Rhonda, thank you for the heads up, for the 5-minute warning. Appreciate it. So there is that. Trump is protecting D.C. And yeah, Watchmen, I don't think he's protecting D.C. I don't think the crime was that bad in D.C. I've been in D.C. a few times. I've been in some of the shitty areas. You know what's worse than D.C.? Baltimore is worse than D.C. What's the other place? Detroit, worse than D.C. Right? So, again, I thought somebody got mugged. Didn't somebody get hurt or mugged recently there? I mean, maybe that's why he did it. But again, federalization of the police is a bad idea. I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but I definitely think it's a bad idea. But we shall see. We'll see what he does with this. Hopefully he does nothing, but I'm going to tell you something. He's giving other future presidents bad ideas. That's all I'm going to say about that. You know, liberals will always cry about liberal shit, but when I saw him federalize that, I was like, that can't be good. That can't be good by fucking any stretch of the imagination. They beat up big what? Big balls. All right, whatever. Vegan MAGA, thank you for following me on Rumble. Appreciate it as always. I did put an uncut version, guys, of They Lost, We Won on Rumble because the video from Scott Adams is on that creator's cut, if you will. And so watch what he says in 2 separate videos that I put in that video because it's important. Because he realized that there was something wrong with the arm ticket before he got sick. That's the crazy shit. Johnny308, thank you for the heads up. Kensington, PA, thank you, Shannon. That's another place that he can go in and fix. But, yeah. So he did 2 separate videos. One was in 2023, and the other one was earlier this year. So, again, people are seeing it, and a lot of doctors saw it a few years ago, and a lot of doctors are contributing what they're seeing now in the medical field to the arm ticket, right? So we're not making this shit up. We're not crazy. I didn't sit here, guys, and say I'm not taking the arm ticket just to buck the system. I said it because there was something very wrong with the system, right? Northern Girl has a GoFundMe fundraiser up. Could you guys please read it? And I guess I'll read it later as well. But yes, Lone Wolf. Kensington is a zombie town. This place is becoming Kensington. I thought I would have never seen. Like again, back in the days, crackheads used to run and hide, right? They used to buy their crack and then scurry away. They'd be like, and they'd be like, you know, they used to hide in buildings and shit. These people are out on the fucking street setting up shop. In fact, today I thought, and I got to see if I see these kids again, I saw young kids being fucking weird and high out of a car when I was coming home this morning. I was walking home and I looked and this kid was staring at me and I was like, please fucking say something because I'm going to fucking kick you right in the goddamn chest. And he stared and then he looked away and then I walked home. I was like, I was not in a fucking mood. After dealing with that lady in her bullshit apartment, I was already up to here. And this kid and his friends, and it was 4 of them, I was pretty sure I was outnumbered, but I was so annoyed, and I'm annoyed at the drug addicts and their bullshit and the shit that they're pulling off. I was like, please set some shit off, because I was already in a mood. I was ready to get into it. Listen, there are days, man, I'm ready to get into it, and the other days, I want nothing to do with it. Jesus. And now, yeah, listen, there's a lot of shit going on with this whole parenting shit too now. They got a new law that they're passing. I forgot what state, but they're holding parents responsible for shitty raised kids. And I do see that being a thing. I would absolutely agree. Even though, you know, like if one of my kids acted like an asshole and I got arrested for him, after I got out of jail, beatings would ensue until morals improve, right? Other than that, guys, thank you for joining me. I will see you guys next week for the doubleheader. Again, if anything happens over the weekend, I'll film it, but most likely nothing won't. Anything crazy happens in D.C., I'll probably head out there, but probably won't. But other than that, I will see some of you guys on the Angry Truth channel. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for the donations. I appreciate it as always. Good day, guys.